last shot of immunity more than 6 months ago, whether that was from a true shot, a vaccine, a booster, or an infection. Your protection against getting infected has waned to almost zero. Your protection against getting severely ill has waned as well, although not to zero. And the benefits of getting this new booster massively outweigh the risks. So I think you should do it.
And so the way that we should think about this is sort of akin to an annual flu shot, in that the shot itself is largely similar. It's just reformulated to target new strains of the virus as it evolves. Is that an analogy people could keep in their heads?
Yeah, I think the White House pushed that analogy a couple of months ago, and it confused people a little bit because the annual flu shot, part of the flu shot only lasts for about 4 or 5 months, but it only needs to last for 4 or 5 months because that's how long flu lasts. Flu is truly seasonal, COVID is not. But I think what they were trying to get across, and it's a reasonable point, is if we can just get everybody to take 1 shot a year, then the level of protection that the entire society will have against severe cases and deaths.
Red light camera ahead.
The shot lasts that long in terms of protecting you against severe cases. What it doesn't do, and I don't think it will do, is last a year in terms of protecting you against COVID, against getting a case of COVID. And I don't want to get a case of COVID, mostly because I'm fearful of long COVID, not so much fearful of dying from COVID anymore. And so I'm guessing that if we can just have a national strategy and a culture where people go on for their yearly flu shot and their yearly COVID shot, the level of societal protection from that will be terrific. It may very well be that for someone over 70 or 75, or someone with other medical illnesses that puts them at higher risk, or someone who just wants to be safer, they can get and should get another booster every 6 months to make sure that their level of protection against infection stays high. But for the average person at low to medium risk, if you can get just this shot once a year, you're going to be in pretty good shape in terms of protection against getting a severe case and dying.
All right. Well, all very useful information and a good reorientation as we find out what the next chapter of this pandemic, or perhaps not pandemic at this point, has in store for us. We have been speaking one last time to Dr. Robert Wachter, once again the chair of UC San Francisco's Department of Medicine. Dr. Robert Wachter, thanks so much.
My pleasure, Keith. Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for listening. For KCBS and In Depth, I'm Keith Manconi. Stay safe, be well. Talk again next week.
You've been listening to KCBS In Depth. Get every episode by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and other podcast platforms. Visit kcbsradio.com for more news and interviews. We are the Bay Area's news station, KCBS.
KCBS News Time, 8:58. Time for an update on traffic and weather together. Ted?
Yeah, we are continuing to look pretty light out there, Eric. It's been a quiet morning, but I will give people a heads up who are heading to Levi's Stadium for the 49ers game later today. For the time being, looks fine in that area of Santa Clara, but as we get later and later into the morning, it will start to pick up. So if you do plan on going there, just be aware that on surface streets around the stadium, things will begin to fill in. So sooner rather than later might be your best course of action. If you're heading out of the city towards the Santa Clara region or from the North Bay, both 101 and 280 are looking really good in the southbound direction and northbound direction. Same story for 880 and 680 right now. If you're headed out of the Gilroy area, northbound 101, you're looking good that direction. So not much for the time being slowing you down from getting to the 49ers game, which gets underway at 1:25 this afternoon. But all around the Bay Area, things looking pretty nice right now. Your next update, 9:08 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Thanks, Ted. And the KCBS Bay Area weather forecast calling for a really nice day today around the Bay. Plenty of sunshine, mild conditions, and breezy somewhat today, too. We're going to see high temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News, KCBS.
It's Sunday, October 23rd, 2022. Coming up on KCBS.
I'm Marty Schaefer with a closer look at some of California's climate goals.
For decades, California has set the gold standard.
And I'm David Welch. San Jose libraries are filling the role of tech support for the city.
Good morning, I'm Eric Thomas.
And I'm Jennifer Hodges.
CBS News covers the world next.
When you need to know, KCBS AM, KF
WFRC-FM and HD1, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, and Odyssey Station.
9 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. One of the major issues motivating voters in the midterms is inflation. On CNN's State of the Union, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders said Republicans need to go on record.
What are the Republicans' response to inflation? What do they want to do? Well, maybe they want to cut wages for workers. Do they want to raise the minimum wage? No, they don't. So I think it's important to take the attack to the Republicans. What do they want to do other than complain?
Some Republican-led states are complaining about President Biden's student loan forgiveness program, so they have filed a challenge in court. CBS's Christopher Cruz picks up the story from there.
The 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has granted an administrative stay of the debt relief plan. That isn't a ruling on the merits of the case, just a temporary pause until the judges hear arguments. The stay was granted after a federal district judge dismissed the lawsuit. On Twitter, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said the administration is moving full speed ahead with the student loan forgiveness plan.
We promise to fight to protect you from baseless lawsuits trying to stop us from providing you debt relief. We will not stop fighting for you.
Christopher Cruz, CBS News, Washington.
Hurricane Rosalind has made landfall near Santa Cruz, Mexico. Daniel Brown is the senior hurricane specialist at the National Hurricane Center.
Rosalind has made landfall in west central Mexico. It made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane with maximum winds of 120 miles per hour.
Brown says those conditions could cause flash flooding and mudslides. With the ringing of the bell, Giorgia Meloni begins her first day at work as Italy's new prime minister with a handover ceremony. Meloni will lead the country's most right-wing government since World War II. Italy's first female prime minister heads the nationalist Brothers of Italy party. Australian researchers say common antihistamines, nausea medication, and cancer-fighting drugs may help protect against COVID. Scott Naiman reports.
The medications are already on the market. Testing on human cells have found they do inhibit the spread of COVID.
From there, we've looked at whether the drugs are able to actually inhibit the virus, and there's a couple of top candidates.
Researcher Natalie Travascus, she says they're keen to get to the next step.
To take them into a clinical trial in human patients.
She says vaccines of today are not always 100% effective, and other medications can't be used because of drug interactions. Scott Maitman for CBS News, Canberra, Australia.
Following global efforts against COVID, tuberculosis is once again the world's biggest infectious killer. Tuberculosis, once called consumption, still kills 1.5 million people every year. This is CBS News.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Visit libertymutual.com to learn more.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work.
Happy birthday to America's most polarizing shoe.
The Croc is 20. 2 decades ago, the foam clogs were born and became a thing you either love or hate. Now, 20 years later, they come in every color imaginable, have collaborated with countless celebs and designers, and are sold in more than 85 countries. The company is even expected to bring in about $3.5 billion in sales this year. They've got a special 20th anniversary edition Croc to celebrate the milestone. It's fancy. The shoe is shimmering silver and has a metallic Croc Day gibbets charm on top. So happy birthday to the shoe you'll never see me wear. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Russell Wilson won't be wearing the uniform when the Denver Broncos take on the New York Jets today. Broncos quarterback has been ruled out.